Hello everybody, it's Julia here with another video for you, and today we are looking at card number 15 of the Major Arcana, and that is the Devil card. We're going to be following the same format as all my other videos. I shall tell you what the Devil card means to me. I'm going to show you some of my tarot cards, and then I'm going to give you some questions that you could use for meditation and for self-reflection if you wanted to meditate upon the energy and the archetype of the devil within your own life. So this is quite a difficult card, really, isn't it, for many people in many ways. I think lots of people would be quite scared if they didn't understand tarot and this card was drawn for them. And it is a difficult card. There's no way around it, really, the Devil card. This is associated with Capricorn in astrology. And as we can see here in this picture, the devil is not Satan, but Pan, who is the half-goat nature god of pagan religions. He's a god of pleasure and the abandonment of worries, the pursuit of wild behaviour and unbridled desires. Capricorn also tells us that this is a card of ambition, and this card is synonymous with temptation and addiction. On the flip side, however, this card can be a warning to a person who's too self-restrained, who never allows themselves to get wild or passionate about anything. Both sides can be forms of enslavement. As a person, the devil can stand for a man of money or erotic power, aggressive, controlling, or just persuasive. Not necessarily bad, but powerful. Important here for the querent to remember is that any chains are usually freely worn, as we can see in this picture. You are enslaved by this person because you have allowed it. And that's something that's extremely important to remember when we look at the Devil card and the Devil energy, is that these things are rarely done to you. Generally, whatever this energy is, you have allowed it, because the chains here are freely worn. You know, these people here could take the chains off and walk away, but they don't. They choose to stay for whatever reason, really. And for us in our own particular lives, those reasons can be many and varied, and sometimes necessary, sometimes. So this is a complex and one-sided card. I think most other cards in the deck urge a unity and a balance and a moderation, but not this card. It is completely masculine and it revels in the extreme. In its upper realms, it could imply a release from bondage, overcoming a fear. It could be about the natural forces of attraction and passion. There could be creative energies here that express as partying and sensuality. But in its lower realms, this can be a more deprived or depraved sexuality, maybe a forbidden love, affairs, subordination, bondage, temptation to evil and dark deeds, unethical actions within our own lives, doing things for very selfish reasons, having a dependence on others, having a dependence on things, places, substances, or people. And this could also be a card, I guess, of the darker sides of our mental health, so some of the more extreme personality disorders, all kinds of things, really. So yeah, quite a complex card, but a very, very masculine card, the Devil. So what else have we got here? We've got the Anna Kay Tarot, which is a very interesting take, isn't it, on the devil energy here. Here we actually do see people doing all of the things that I've just been talking about, really. There's lots of sexuality going on in this card. There's a man in armour with his sword. There's people praising the devil here. There's the fires of hell behind him. Yeah, there's a big pile of money there, isn't there? Lots of nakedness. Yeah. So I guess on the whole, this card could be concerned with everything that tempts but traps us. So falsehood, really. Things that we think might be good for us, or we want to be good for us, but that aren't necessarily. So occasionally I do believe that these devil cards can imply or mean just to enjoy a physical life, really, and to not feel guilty about it. You know, we are spirits and souls, essentially, but we are in this physical body, this container that we live in, and we should enjoy our bodies and we should enjoy the physical world around us, but just not to extreme, or not to such extremes as the devil energy would encourage us. So what else have I got here? This card, I think this is a brilliant, very contemporary take, isn't it? A very modern take on devil energy again. And this is really that no matter how good something looks or tastes, if it's taking over your ability to think straight or be moderate, which is the temperance energy that we were talking about in my last video, then it's often not worth it, is it? You know, these ice creams and chocolates and sweets and things here, very occasionally, very moderately, these are things that can be enjoyed in our life, can't they? But if we allow them to take over, if we allow these things to go to excess, it becomes an addiction, doesn't it? It keeps you trapped and limited, and you feel like you have no choice, which is an extremely unhealthy energy to be sat in, isn't it? But that's a fantastic representation of devil energy, I think. I think we've got a similar thing going on here in the zombie tarot deck, haven't we? That even in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, where you would imagine there are lots of things to worry about, there is this cigarette machine here, isn't there? With this sort of old-fashioned cigarette machine with the devil sat inside it saying, come here, you know, you can smoke. You know, it's good for you. You'll like it. You'll enjoy it. Let me have a little read for the book for that and just see if I've actually got that right. That's how it looks to me, really. It's a vice, isn't it? That's what's written in the card there. So in a world turned upside down, no one will blame you for indulging in a couple of vices. In fact, that's exactly what the devil wants you to do. Why bother to restore law and order when you can unwind with a few smokes? Why rescue children from orphanages when it's easier to kick back with a pint of whiskey? The answer to both questions is the same, because you're better than that. So yeah, this is a card of vices, temptation, excess, and really your own ability to be better than that, to see what is for your higher good. We've got the Tarot of the Divine here, and I honestly don't know. this tarot deck is full of stories and myths and fairy tales and legends, and I honestly don't know who the snake is in this. It's like a snake of fire weaving its way through a forest, isn't it? I don't know who that is, so I'm going to look that up and see. Oh, Tata. I've probably pronounced that really badly, but this is Brazilian mythology, this card here. It says, the devil gives in to the ego, lusting for unnecessary or harmful things, unwilling to leave negative situations. It is a dragon sitting upon a pile of gold that it doesn't need, or it's a person setting a forest on fire for their own gain. So that's obviously what's gone on here, isn't it? This snake here just represents fire. And perhaps in this Brazilian mythology, somebody set this forest on fire for their own gain, which would definitely be devil energy, wouldn't it? So upright, this card represents greed, controversy, violence, strange experiences and addiction. And it is reversed, meaning it means release, enlightenment, power reclaimed, divorce and moving on. It's like in all things, there's good that can come from working with the energy of the devil, because it can really make us face up to all of the things in our life that we struggle with, all of the energies within our life that keep us limited and bound and trapped within certain situations, whether that be within relationships, jobs, how hard we're prepared to work for money, for the material trappings of life. And they're all very, very difficult things, and they're all very, very individual things that sometimes there's no right or wrong answer to, I think, really. And then the last card we've got here is from my Dark Wood Tarot, and I always like to read from the book for this one because, well, Sasha Graham's book is just fantastic. I love it. So here we are. This is the devil, and this is a much more traditional representation of the devil, I think, here, isn't it? Yeah. This is very Satan-like, isn't it? So, let's have a look. So, she says the devil is the archetype of the shadow. So as I said, this is an extremely difficult but extremely helpful archetypal energy for us to reflect upon in our lives. So she says, make fear your friend and turn obstacles into allies. Where are we? Where shall I read from? Your shadow becomes an ally when embraced. Fear is never an effort to avoid. Avoidance equals indifference. Think of how it feels to be shunned or find out that someone just doesn't care. Fear is realizing the value of a thing. The thought of losing such a thing becomes more terrifying than actually having it. Yeah. Fear points us to where we want to go. This is why challenge cards are the heart of a tarot spread and the defining moment of any story. The shadow is every fear, terror, talent, desire, wish and expression buried within the wells of the subconscious. The devil is the mythological creature springing from the human ego. That's quite profound, isn't it? The ego is the false construction of our personality. the idea of who we think that we are. It is entirely self-created. We need not destroy our ego, we simply need to recognize it for what it is and no longer be controlled by it. Labyrinth patterns appear across the natural spectrum in galaxies, seashells, and even snails. We enter mental labyrinths when dealing with loss, confusion, darkness, and fear. Walk the maze to discover your shadow, because he conceals himself well. Tricks and illusions would have us think our ego is ready to wage battle with him. What do you fear? What are you vilifying? What makes you angry and upset? What, asks the devil, do you want more than anything? They're brilliant questions, aren't they? The devil stands as the terrifying other and as a cultural scapegoat. The devil wants to keep you enslaved, angry and scared, because this is where he draws his power. He thrives on addiction, negative energy, and extreme control. Do you know, those words there have just reminded me, made me think quite strongly about the people that rule our countries and our governments and our worlds. I think some of the words here, he thrives on addiction, negative energy, and extreme control. The devil wants to keep you enslaved, angry, and scared, because this is where he gains his power. And I think we see an awful lot of that going on in our world, don't we, these days? I often refer to the world as the beast system. You know, our governments, the elites, the controllers of our lives. It is a kind of beast system because it keeps us in many ways trapped and in fear of losing the things that we have. We've all seen that very strongly over the last couple of years, haven't we, with the COVID pandemics. The pandemics themselves have caused an enormous amount of fear in people, which has been destructive and unhealthy and kept a lot of people trapped in situations that were very bad for them, as well as just keeping people trapped at home, people losing their freedom. Very, very negative energy. So the devil is called the dweller on the threshold, because once he is slayed and integrated, infinite possibilities will appear. So slay the dweller to set yourself free, just as the Page of Swords is about to do. So that's who's in this card, I think, with the devil. This is the Page of Swords. That's fascinating. That'll be really interesting when we get further along towards the Page of Swords. I shall have to have a look at that. But yeah, there's a lot about devil energy really that does remind me and does resonate strongly for the world that we live in these days. It is a system designed to trap us financially. To keep us scared. It's divisive, isn't it? It tries to always pull people apart. This sort of us and them mentality. It all seeks to keep us trapped and scared and powerless. So there we go. So that's all of the cards. And I know that I just read out a couple of questions there that Sasha Graham asks, because she's brilliant for that actually in her guidebook. She does give you several questions that really do prompt this sort of self-reflective process. But some questions that came to my mind when I thought about the Devil card were, what or who is causing obsession in your life? Where do you feel stuck, trapped, or limited in your life? Where do you need to introduce healthy boundaries around your own behaviour? Where do you need to introduce healthy boundaries around other people's behaviour? And lastly, do you recognise the difference between wants and needs? And I think that that's a very pertinent question with this card, because a lot of the things that we think we need in life, like I must have, they're just wants. They're not things that we actually really need. And that focus on them in such a way is what binds us and traps us within that energy. And we're all guilty of it, me included. I've had various addictions and obsessions about people and things in my life. And it's something, shadow work is something that I take very seriously, and I've actively worked on to become a more secure person, to become more securely attached within myself. Because I think this devil energy causes a lot of this kind of avoidant attachment styles, this anxiously attachment styles in life. It's not an energy that would encourage you to be secure within yourself, is it? So yeah, I think what or who is causing obsession in your life? Where do you feel stuck, trapped, or limited in your life? Where do you need to introduce healthy boundaries around your own behaviour or the behaviour of other people? And do you recognise the difference between the wants and the needs that you have in life? So there we go. I hope that you enjoyed this little video. I hope it was informative and interesting, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you again. I'll be back for the next instalment in this Learn Tarot series very soon, I hope. So thank you.